Okay, take two. I believe this is a Wee Blether 130. Oh, no, wait, 140, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Wanted to do a YABO. This one was from Professor Ron from Dickey Labs. And of course, I open up the box and it never ever fails. Every time I open up a box, I either get the sender's address or my own address on the actual screen, and I don't know if I could edit it, so I just decided to do a take two. So he sent me some bosom cut, and he sent me a bro note, also known as a letter in common parlance, and it's got great handwriting, I have to say. Um, and the thing I like about the professor is country he's a country codger curmudgeon that I really, really enjoy. And if you've seen any one of his videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a salt of the earth type of a Midwest dude. And no airs or graces. He is just what he is. And good on him. So thank you very much for that, Professor. I will be trying that soon. And also, since I folded up I, fold, I folded up my BookTube account. I decided to basically do a book haul here for the hell of it. So, whoops, let's just weigh that down, please. Let's weigh that note down. I save notes. I'm kind of a hoarder that way. I save letters and notes. I don't know why. Might turn them into art one day. Who knows? So I went into like the local Goodwills while Bill was doing some shopping, and that way he could just zoom around and do whatever he wanted, and without me breathing down his neck. So basically I went into Goodwill's next door, and I look what I found. Now I've owned I don't know how many versions and formats of this movie throughout the years. I've got like a deluxe Blu-ray box set up there. I haven't yet gone to 4K, but that one, every time I go to play it, and I see this trilogy at least once a year, sometimes two. Um, every time I go to put it in the Blu-ray player, it decides the Blu-ray player decides to get a little finicky. I have to keep hitting the play button, insert, insert, reset, and yeah, maybe the lens needs cleaning, or maybe the machine's just getting old. I don't know. So I got this just so I can pop the thing in its regular DVD, and I can just start watching it. I don't have to fight it. And if I really want if I really want the extras, which I normally don't go for the commentary. I I can enjoy these movies again. It's just great cinema, and as I'm a time travel freak anyway, this was when I first saw this in the movie theater in July of 1985. My jaw dropped, and then 4 years later, when I saw the sequel, my jaw dropped again because Marty went back to the same day in 1955 and had to work around his earlier self to get the sports almanac from Biff, which resulted in a dark timeline that they had to erase. It's I make it sound more confusing than it actually is, but glad I found this for $10. Not checked every disc, not a scratch on it. Good, good. All right, all right. Came across this 100 Years of Solitude by, of course, his name is. Let's just open it up. Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Now he's written like about 20 books in here, collected novellas. I'm not one for literary reading. I read for enjoyment, not necessarily so I could say I've read classic books, but this one just keeps coming up, and let's face it, you can't knock that price. And what I do is I read the first page of the book, and if the prose rolls off pretty easily, you don't have to fight it too much. Um, I guess the closer it sounds to everyday language, the more I get sucked in, type thing. And thus far, it did. So I'll read it, and we'll see if I get touched by its genius and magnificence. We shall see. Okay, what else? The Green Mile. Now, Stephen King, he serialized The Green Mile. I believe it was one slim little, I guess you could call it a pamphlet. He released one of those a month, and I collected them each as they came out each month. I still have them downstairs. 6 volumes, I believe, but here they're all collected. And I just recently saw the movie, which is fantastic, directed by Frank Darabont. He's one of the few directors that gets Stephen King. He also did The Shawshank Redemption and The Mist. He also did. He was also the showrunner for the first season of The Walking Dead, but that's unrelated to Stephen King. But this is an American classic. I think it's destined to be an American classic. It has just a slight touch of the supernatural in it. Nothing crazy, but very good stuff. So I figured, well, if I'm going to read this again, I don't feel like digging through all the 6 different volumes and shuffling through them. So I picked this up for the price. All right, next comes, came across another Stephen King novel, Cell. Never read it. I've read of all of Stephen King's first wave books. Like one of the Bachman books, I read Rage once upon a time long ago, but since it involves school shooting violence, King has taken it out of production. You can't find it in print. I still have my original copy. I read that story, and yeah, it prefigured the next decade pretty well, gotta say. So from Carrie up until Pet Cemetery, I've read all those books, but I quit just before I got sick of the formula. Family moves to Maine, weird stuff starts happening, etc. So on. I guess when you binge read a lot of books, you see the patterns coming out. So I stopped reading Stephen King. It's too bad because probably one of his magnum opuses came out like later that year called It, a little book called It. It's like 1,000+ pages, and It is fantastic. If it's really about the loss of childhood innocence at its core, but it's a deft blending of Ray Bradbury and H.P. Lovecraft. And Stephen King, whatever you say about him, he knows how to write everyday people, which you care about when the horror starts revving up. And he's just a good yarn spinner. So got that. I'm not sure if I had this already in my book pile downstairs, but pick that up. What else do we have? Yeah, well, Michael Dobbs, Churchill's Hour. I mean, I've always been kind of a sucker for World War II. I can't tell you any of the movements and the battalions, and that was my dad's bag. He could show you a map and draw you all the arrows and where each battalion was moving and what their accomplished goal was, etc. So on. More about the everyday people, and let's face it, the UK had to fight Hitler off alone had to be over a year before anyone else did a goddamn thing officially. We apparently Roosevelt gave sort of shipped them arms on the sly to help, but wasn't until Pearl Harbor was attacked that the United States says we're not going to stand for this. So this is basically in fiction form. So this will be something I'll read when I need to change my palette completely. So it just adds to the pile in the zero room downstairs, which is also the cat napping room and the movie storage room and the my work uniform storage room. But anyway, that's all. I just want to get on, say hello, get used to doing these videos regularly, and thank you again, Ron, Professor Ron. I appreciate it. And we'll put this in the vaults, which is like one of those fabric drawers that you open and close. It's got tons of other things like this in it. I'll try this next time I do a video. It feels kind of moist too. Anyway, folks, it's going on 10 minutes. Thank you very much. Speak to you soon. All the best.